For a long time, I thought successful people were simply more motivated than everyone else. They woke up excited to work out. They couldn't wait to meal prep. They loved eating healthy. They looked forward to going to bed early. Then I spent more than 30 years coaching women, and I realized something. The women who are successful long term aren't more motivated. They're simply less dependent on motivation. There's a huge difference. If you're a woman over 40 who's ever wondered why you can feel incredibly motivated on Sunday night, only to lose that motivation by Wednesday afternoon, stay with me. Because your problem isn't motivation. Instead, you've accidentally been waiting for the wrong thing. And by the end of this video, I'm going to give you one question to ask yourself the next time your brain says, I don't feel like it. I think it may completely change the way you approach healthy habits. One of the biggest myths in the health and fitness world is this. We act as though motivation comes first. You feel motivated, then you take action, then your life changes. It sounds logical, but it's also incomplete. Because here's what I see over and over again. You decide you're going to lose weight. Again, you clean out the pantry, you buy workout clothes, order the supplements, download an app, meal prep on Sunday. You're riding this wave of motivation. Then Wednesday rolls around. You're tired, work ran late, dinner didn't go as planned, the weather's bad, the kids need something, and suddenly the motivation is gone. Here's the problem. Nothing went wrong. Motivation simply did what motivation has always done. It showed up and then it left. That's what feelings do. They're temporary. If you've been expecting motivation to stick around forever, you've been asking it to do a job it was never designed to do. Here's an analogy. Have you ever noticed that nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I just wasn't motivated to brush my teeth today? We don't wait until we feel inspired. We brush them because that's simply what we do. It's become part of who we are. Now think about your health. Imagine if eating enough protein felt like brushing your teeth. Imagine if taking your walk after dinner wasn't a debate every evening. Imagine if strength training wasn't something you had to psych yourself up for. That's not because those women are more motivated. It's because those behaviors have become part of their identity. And that's where we've been aiming at the wrong target. We've been chasing motivation when we should have been refining and especially upgrading identity. I hear women say things like, I just need to get motivated again. Maybe, but maybe not. What if you don't need another motivational speech? What if you need fewer decisions? Think about how exhausting it is to negotiate with yourself every day. Should I go? Should I skip? Should I cook? Should I order takeout? Should I meal prep? Should I track today? Every decision drains energy. Habits eliminate negotiations. That's one of the biggest gifts habits give us. They make fewer things up for debate. And this reminds me of something I shared in last week's video. I said, you don't have to love everything your goals require. You simply have to learn to like it well enough. I want to build on that because if you've learned to like a habit well enough, you don't wake up every day asking whether you feel like doing it. You simply do it. I don't always feel like meal prepping. I definitely don't wake up craving tuna packets. If you've watched this channel for any length of time, you know I joke about those. But what I love about those habits is what they allow me to do. They simplify my life. They support my goals. They reduce stress. And I learn to like them well enough because I appreciate the payoff. That's very different from waiting until I'm excited. Here's another thought I've had recently. We've confused feelings with commitment. Somewhere along the way, we decided that if we don't feel like doing something, maybe we shouldn't do it. But feelings change by the hour. Commitment doesn't have to. If I only coached when I felt inspired, I'd be a pretty inconsistent coach. If I only exercised when I felt excited, I'd miss a lot of workouts. And if I only ate well when it was convenient, I'd probably spend a lot more time in drive-thrus. The women who succeed aren't superhuman. They've simply stopped asking their emotions for permission. Now, I'm not saying you should white knuckle your way through life miserably. You've heard me say before, don't build a life you can't wait to escape from. I still believe that. Also, don't expect every healthy habit to entertain you. Those are two different ideas. You don't have to love meal prep. You don't have to love walking or lifting weights. You simply have to learn to like them well enough because you love what they make possible. That's sustainable. That's realistic. That's how people keep the weight off long term. Here's something I tell clients all the time. Health is built on ordinary Tuesdays, not January 1st. Not after a motivational seminar. Not after buying new clothes. An ordinary Tuesday. Nothing exciting, nobody applauding, no challenge, no countdown, just you. Keeping that promise you made to yourself. Those ordinary Tuesdays become extraordinary years. So here's what I'd like you to try this week. Tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening, at some point your brain is going to say, I don't feel like it. When that happens, don't argue, don't negotiate, don't shame yourself. Simply stop and ask one question. Am I waiting for motivation or am I waiting to begin? Because beginning often creates the motivation you've been waiting for, not the other way around. And that's a completely different way to think about change. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you because I think this conversation can help a lot of women reading the comments. Finish this sentence. One healthy habit I no longer negotiate with myself about is blank. Maybe it's walking. Maybe it's getting enough sleep. Maybe it's eating enough protein. Maybe you're still searching for that answer and you're still working on it. Share it below if you have it. I read every comment and I genuinely enjoy seeing the wisdom this community shares with one another. And if these conversations help you think differently about weight loss after 40, healthy aging, metabolism, and building habits that actually last, I'd love to have you join us each week. Every Tuesday, we tackle another challenge that stands between you and the healthier life you're trying to build. Because here's what I hope you'll remember from today's conversation. Motivation gets you started. Habits get you home. And if you've learned to like those habits well enough, you'll keep showing up long after motivation has faded. Until next time, do good, have fun, be well.